All right, good lucks, have fun's coming out. We've got Broken Crown here, the Alpha Navigator Cup finals taking place, well, semifinals here between our blue Infernal player spawning up in the north. It is MSRM. And his opponent, representing Aftermath Gaming, he is our red Infernal player, Snoxtar. All right, so we talked about Broken Crown. It's like the tried and true classic map. Of course, we do have our speed camp here, which you can already see the little shenanigans of attacking going on here. We've got the scout coming out for Snoxtar, trying to get in and get some more information, just to confirm, okay, yep, everything looks normal from what I'm seeing. There's nothing crazy happening on the other side here. Both players are going for that Iron Vault Conclave opening, which makes their life easier. So if you remember with the way that Stormgate works, is we did get to do a lot of StarCraft casting yesterday for Cheesadelphia. Let's kind of refocus our brains on this RTS compared to other ones. There are these camps that do matter quite a lot. Getting them will give you that boost of resources as well as extra bonuses like the health camp, the speed camp, so there's a lot of added bonuses for being able to take them. You've got your early spellcaster, the Hexen here, that's going to be able to help nuke down and kill these off. He's got that little floating skull spell that he drops down there that will help infest these enemy units, which when they die, they turn into the Fiends. Something that these Gaunts will eventually be able to do, but for the moment, they are not able to. But getting that health camp right away is really important. Allows, of course, you to get that extra bonus health up on all those minions, get that added bonus resources, and then we're going to be getting ourselves ready for kind of the next stage here. Looks like continuing up with the creeping style here, adding in the Brute as that big tanky unit as we kind of go through and get our speed boost here. Both players are going to be going about this, but the main difference between these builds right now is MSRM has opted for an earlier expansion in this. So how will our red player respond to this? He's now building up and getting his own. Part of this is like, how is he going to be able to respond? Well, he's going to be going and being more aggressive with his troops, right? He's going to be able to take the camp and try to bid. Oh, here's a big boost and speed of the Fiends catching this and seeing this is happening. So we are able to grab that flower, heal up a little bit, and now we're going to have a little bit of battle right now taking place over top of this. Look at this, trying to get it with the orb. Did he grab it that last second? Whoever gets the last kill, the last hitting, does get that extra resources there, so that does make a difference here. But additional Brutes and additional Gaunts are able to kind of push this off and allow Snoxtar to be able to take control of that vision camp there in the watchtower. In the meantime, Shrine has now finished up for MSRN, so he's invested more of his resources into this expansion, so there's a small window of opportunity where he's kind of setting up and trying to utilize that like lack of resources that he's got that will eventually pay off a little bit faster than his opponent. So there's going to be a small window where there'll be a boost in economy before Snoxtar is able to, but there's a tiny spot right now where there's an additional set of troops here that are making this a little bit harder for Snoxtar to be able to kind of deal with, and he's going to be actually falling back here. We're both going to be continuing to fight over and try to control this watchtower area. Their whole goal is to try to get that extra bonus of resources from killing these. Well, trying to drag him out. We'll see the pop of the Brutes, turning him into Fiends. Going for the speed. I wish there was that little indicator so you could see, bing, which player got the control of the resources. Was it the blue player? Was it the red player? Maybe that'll be something, because we are still in that early access adventures of Stormgate. It's officially free and out for everyone to be able to play, but the game is definitely still in development. Lots of stuff still working through. A couple of Fiends sneak in here, just get a little bit of scout and get a little bit of information and zip on out. Nothing too crazy coming out here. So now it's kind of that question of, where do we go from here? Where is our next stage? How will we be developing it? The most obvious way to go about things is this Ritual Chamber Edition here, where this is going to be able to kind of allow players to be able to get those upgrades that they need for their Gaunts, which is really crucial, because you want to be able to have your Gaunts get that infestation ability. You want to get them that extra speed, so we get those Plague Axes, we get those Reaper Rush, so kind of ritual chamber is crucial for that. And there's the plague axes coming out now, starting it off for Snoxtar. In the meantime, the army just continues to grow, and a third base is going to be the choice here for MSRM. So really prioritizing his economy before he's prioritizing his tech. Both perfectly solid, and there's no real advantage going one way or the other yet until we get into actual combat. When the fight actually starts and the small timing attack availability that Snoxtar will gain by getting those plague axes early will be one thing. Thank you, Psionic. Appreciate you liking the Stormgate casting today. We've got a whole day of Stormgate casting with the Alpha Navigator Cup finals today, so it's going to be a good one. But you can see the mini-map is really telling a story right now with the amount of blue markers indicated here that MSRM has control of them compared to the ones that Snoxtar has, right? Just the amount of vision and, you know, lack of knowledge going on is really showing that we're going to be able to take and be much more defensive for Snoxtar. He's going to send a couple of his fiends to try to get a little bit more information on his side of the map and try to even out the number of controlled towers here. And now we're kind of split, right? Both players have control of 4, but ooh, we're going to gather up a little bit of extra resources with the Luminite Tower, but that's going to force in the speed. We see just the number of gaunts is going to be so important when we actually get into a battle between these two players, so pay close attention when we get into a straight-up fight here. But we're not ready for that yet. It's more of just posture. Let's kind of... Both players really do respect each other here, and you can tell by the way that they're just kind of moving about the map, both just sort of like, all right, can I take this? Let me sneak over here. Let me grab this. All right. The kind of left-hand side of the map is now under control of Snoxtar, where the right-hand side of the map is under control of MSRM. And we do get the fiends coming in, trying to sneak in, get a little bit of information, and maybe try to get a kill here. But that's the difference between, you know, Stormgate and StarCraft, is just that difference between the amount of damage and health that units have. It takes a little bit longer for units to actually die in this compared to StarCraft 2, where we were seeing units die constantly yesterday when we were going through our adventures with Cheeseadelphia casting. So where is the next stage? Well, all of the camps are going to start resetting. So as we start building up and start teching up here, we're going to be getting ourselves prepared and ready for this. This is a really smart choice here of sneaking in a little bit of a Shroud Stone inside of the main base. That's just kind of that, you know, protection, knowing that drop play exists within the infernal lines of play, and something that players often will attempt to do. But we do see our next big tech route here going up and increasing the power of these brutes. They're going to be getting extra armor, helps their fiends out a little bit more, so this is going to be really nice here. But ooh, the Twilight Spire getting added in here, so that's what we talked about. Drop play availability, also Spriggan availability here, so get some flyers out, but big speed boost. You can tell how fast these units are with that on both sides here. They're just kind of rushing around, but MSRN's army and supply looking a little bit better. Those extra economic choices that he made has really paid off for him to be able to kind of dump into this larger army. So those timing attack, those windows of opportunity where Snoxtar was pretty much even and had chances to be able to sneak in and do something, we're kind of lost now. So now it's kind of this, all right, how are we going to deal with the amount of gaunts that are out here? What sort of splash damage are you going to be able to construct to help you, or are we going to start going in? Oh, ooh. A little bit of ping in there. I like that. What sort of you know, style are we going to go for? Are we going to go add in the Magmadons here? Are we going to start grabbing Weavers and start going for that route to be able to kind of get some more information? And you do that get over here yanking ability, definitely a possibility, but we're going to have to wait and see. Tends to be the way that you construct your armies right now in Infernal versus Infernals, especially on this map in particular, where it's just like the Gaunts are the best. Right? They are the pure DPS of this army. Brute's whole job is to sit here and kind of be in the way. They're going to be absorbing a lot of hits and be tanky here. But look at these couple fiends get in and start being annoying. Actually, they're going to start actually almost killing off those brutes. But we do split them no problem and are able to kind of clean them up here. But yeah, we got our additional Wrath Stones here, giving us some more information that we need. But there's the fight going to start taking place up at the top. Here's that wrist. Both players are going to be dropping down their effigies. That, of course, gives us that extra weight shield. But there's the first Magmadon, that first difference in the splash damage that we're seeing. The Stampede comes out. We're trying to run back. We do have Hellborns added in for Snoxtar. So that's going to be that shotgun blast raining down from the backhand side. A couple of these Gaunts just kind of stuck, not able to attack here. So we've got to really kind of group up. But the Brutes are starting to fall in the front, which allows the Magmadon to stampede his way forward here. And if they get on top of those Gaunts, it's going to be over here. You're going to watch them just fall apart. But just the pure amount of damage coming out for MSRM is overwhelming. The amount of Gaunts that are here as he rushes his way into Snoxtar's third base, it is getting harder and harder to hold. And there's the Stampede. You can watch him slowly crumple down underneath of all that damage. But now we just got to kind of move our way forward and slowly overwhelm with the amount of Plague Axes coming out here for MSRM. And more effigies going to get dropped down to help make sure we got our extra health. And look at that, Stampede comes, and we're just going to kind of stutter step, move our way around, try to reposition, and GG is called. Snoxtar is going to be tapping out as MSRM takes game number 1 here in this best of 5 action. Very, very cool. Very exciting. Let me just update our score. Actually, we'll wait. We'll make sure we get it up to date on the next one. So, yeah, very cool. Very exciting for our players there. Could have gone either way, but we saw that focus on economy really paying off for the players. And now we're going to be jumping into game number 2. It's not a tie. Yeah, the economic route of just pumping and dumping all your resources into the Gaunts and, you know, choosing that as your main way of building up an army count. So once you get to the actual fight, sometimes people will tech up and transition earlier and be able to dump their resources into those higher techs like the Magmadons, you know, like the Hellborns with those little shotgun blasts that they've got. But really relying more on your pure DPS for those Gaunts made such a difference when it came down to the fight, because that's the actual part, like damage part of your army. So now we're going to be getting ready for game number 2. Ruination is going to be our map. This will be a new one. So currently MSRM up 1-0 here in this best of 5 semifinals in this series. Could go either way. First game just showed us kind of the tried and true classic map, worked out very well in favor of our MSRM, our Infernal player there, to be able to kind of build up and just go for the economic advantages. We had some slight differences in builds, but for the most part, it was pretty much even across the board. So it's going to be interesting to see in game 2, though, on a newer map, how these players decide to go about it. Ruination kind of reminds me a bit of, like, I don't know, just because of its very square layout, it kind of reminds me of Metalopolis from, like, old school StarCraft. But it, just in a weird way. We'll see once we get into it what I mean once we start seeing the map itself. All right, here we go. Let's jump in. Full screen it for everyone to see. Change our score. There we go. All right, so spawning up here in the upper left-hand corner of the map, it is going to be our blue Infernal player, currently down 0-1 in this best of 5 semifinal match. Representing Aftermath Gaming, he is Snoxtar. And his opponent, leading our series with strong economic play, he is our red Infernal player, spawning the bottom right, MSRM. All right, so it reminds me a little bit of Metalopolis just because of the square layouts, the way that the bases are set up here in position. But we do, of course, have the Hexen making his way across, getting that scouting information, trying to figure out everything that is going on. And sees that there is the double gaunt already out. So that's also good indication about what is going on the map. And so we see that difference already in the builds, right? We're going for the Conclave. Iron Vault is a little bit after that, so you can get out there and start already creeping up and doing your adventures. On the other side, MSRM says, hey, it's a bigger map. You know, this is a kind of more to the new age style of the way that we're building things, so I can kind of get away with being able to go for a expansion really, really early. And look at this. He's trying to get the snipe. Gets him low. Won't be able to get the kill off of here, but still, that is really nice. The healing will be able to put a stop to that, but that's infestation and the poison dots that are there. In the meantime, we will be eventually getting our own health camp, but we are not yet because we had to spend all of our resources getting our extra shrine here. So focusing again economically and trying to hope that we have what it takes to be able to kind of keep our opponent at bay and gain some advantages this way. Again, hoping for the payoff later on. Go for a riskier opening to get something great. Now, will Snoxtar be able to, you know, figure this out and go for a timing and be able to kind of bust in before things get too crazy? It's possible. We're going over and grabbing control of the watchtower in the center, but this is, you know, lots of ramps, lots of hills that we can be able to see as these players kind of move their way around the map and get themselves in position. Vision will help out. Boom, boom, boom. And we're moving across. Let's go see how the response is. We have a few troops here, a couple fiends. Fiends are going to get out and be able to get confirmation, and they see just like how many gaunts, how many brutes, and that's kind of your like notice real quick of just like, oh, okay, so you have a decent amount, but not too bad. I can go get another boost into my economy by getting more and more creep. You're kind of stuck over on your side of the map with your troops right now, so let me just kind of grab everything that I can on the map. So we get the big speed boost, get a couple more fiends. We can start moving out a little bit. Our own fiend's going to go and try to get seen, get some information, but will be caught, and trying again to just deny. That speed boost was helping out a little bit there, but he will be able to sneak his way on over and get some more information. Really, that's the nice thing about playing as Infernal and getting access to the fiends is you get a little bit of easier, you know, scouting and everything like that by using this. So, now we're going to be positioning ourselves for the next watchtower over here on the little, bottom center of the map. And watchtowers are really important, especially on these larger maps. And getting yourselves in position here is the plan. Boom, boom, boom. More and more vision in control. And now, over here, MSRM is just sort of, you know, hiding up. He's got to be safe. He's building up for a Twilight Spire here. So instead of going into, like, the, you know, super fast, you know, upgrades to super fast additional production facilities, he's going for, I'm going to go economic into tech, where Snoxtar is just all about army here. So shifting up from where he was before, but this big focus on the army allows him to get out onto the map and take over all of the creep camps, and we're just going to watch the mini-map slowly become more and more blue as this kind of payoff is building up here, as our shrine starts to become upgraded. Our plague axes are getting added on here, so we're really setting ourselves up nicely for the kind of those next stages here. How well are we going to be able to respond, though? Was our Twilight Spire done? Oh, a third base. Yeah. Economy's the name of the game. There it is. I was like, we got to see the Harbinger somewhere. He's got to be here. Oh my gosh, this anti-timing. Oh, yeah. No more armor. Can we get to the high ground? We do. So we get to sneak our way in and drop in and start doing a little bit of fighting. Load up and try to get out. So that was the kind of anti-timing here. But this is that, hey, pay attention to me. Now you're over on this side of the map. There's a drop available, but there's a lot of troops ready to defend already. So it's not like this is going to be able to do much. So he still is just kind of moving around, going to try to take control of this health camp up here and be able to kind of fight over this, which is a nice way of going about it. But Fiends are going to run over and put a denial on that, and they're going right for that drop. Nope, Harbinger will be able to escape. 30 health left. We do have to leave a couple of gaunts there. Oh my gosh. Look at that. That's tough. The infestation. Yeah, we lose all of that. All of our resources committed to that drop are now gone. But that is okay. This whole plan was just a deny, distract, pay attention over here while I start to get my third base up, start to send my fiends out, and start taking over all of these towers that are set up on the map. But large army for Snoxtar here. We can look at our supplies, 70 to 56. A lot of resources just went into this base that just finished up that has not been able to pay for itself yet. So we're kind of in this kind of scramble to set up and be like, all right, I need to be able to get out on the map again and try to, you know, take control and take advantage of some of these camps the best that I can. And both players are going to be doing that here. All right, going forward, grabbing our Luminite camp as well as our Therium camp. I wanted to say Hexite, been playing all kinds of other RTSs there with like zero space and stuff. But now we will be able to grab this. But army supply-wise, or just supply-wise in general, it's looking tough. And here's the oh my gosh, where is MSRM? Not here, and he's going to end up losing this base here. We do see a couple of gaunts pop out and immediately die here. But the Hexen in the back, though, is vulnerable. We do see a Shroud Zone was able to get placed down, but not enough to actually help out here. And we're going right for that mineral line, and it is going to be get shredded here. Look at those Fiends. Whole goal is to try to kill as many imps as possible. The rest of the army is going to get out here, and there is a Magmadon getting added to the mix here for MSRN, and its whole goal is to be able to try to get on top of these gaunts and weaken them as much as possible. There's all the Fiends going to surround the rest of the army. You see the Brutes super slow on attacking here. They're doing their best to try to get in here and get this fight and try to save the day, but there's so much blue here. Yeah, there's the GG as we kind of just reposition, surround this army here and clean it all up, and just that blue swarm took over. So much investment into this base and not enough into the army. Well, that will put us over there in a 1-1 tie here between both these players. What a exciting way to go about things on that map. All right, we knew that it was just kind of a matter of time before the army would eventually move its way across. If that drop had actually gotten in there and snuck in without being seen, that anti-timing of we're moving to take our next camp right as you are trying to go in with the drop, it might have worked out a little bit different and could have delayed a lot more with that constant threat of, oh, there's a drop that I have to prepare for. I need to make sure I have troops back at home, and I can't really move out the way that I want to. That's kind of normal strategy that you might expect to see within kind of an RTS of distract your opponent, keep them off their game through drop play, and by catching it right away, killing it off, like that just put a huge loss to MSRM for his economy because he invested so much into a base that hadn't paid off yet. He invested his tech and resources into that drop and a full battalion of gaunts, and all of that was gone. So now he was kind of stuck scrambling with what he had left, trying to be able to get additional resources through the camps, and the whole army that had done so well defending just moved across the map and was able to clean up MSRN there. So we're tied up here 1-1 in this best of 5 Alpha Navigator Cup Adventures. We're going to be going to Secluded Grove for our next map. Again, another one of those classic maps. If you have been watching Stormgate or playing Stormgate, you should know Secluded Grove. It's got that big old grassy knoll in the center surrounded by trees, and then it's kind of a bit smaller of a map, but players do tend to go into that kind of 3 bases pretty easily, be able to kind of set things up. If you try to go for your 4th base, you're kind of left in this awkward spot. Do you go for kind of the far right, the far left, far away from actually where you need to be? Or are you going to be going and trying to take the center? Like, there's a lot of danger to being able to try to expand out later in the game. And we've seen MSRM be such a player that's focused on economy. This might be a tougher one for him. But they've had to go through the picks and the bans. There's 8 maps available. We're doing a best of 5. They banned a couple of maps. They were able to pick through the ones that they wanted to for this, and now we're going to be getting ready and jumping into our next game shortly here. Yeah, MSRM versus Snoxtar Alpha Navigator Cup Season 2 Finals. There's still the potential that we get our repeat of a champion, because Theory is still in the tournament. He's on the other side of the bracket, doing well, crushing through things. I say crushing through things. He's battling against the only non-Infernal in there, Celestial player, High. So it's going to be interesting to see, will it be an all-Infernal set of games for the finals? Will High be able to keep dominating? Should be. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right, so we're going to give Bayo a few minutes. I don't want him to miss out. His stream went offline, so our other caster ended up going off. We sadly, so we just try to give him a few minutes, see if he's going to join us. And we'll see. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. Ah. Okay, so sounds like he has he had another broadcast that he had to do. So we can be able to jump into it. All right, so that works out then, I guess, that we chose this match to be able to cover for you all, because sadly Bayo has to tap out and go do coverage somewhere else, so we get to be able to finish bringing you guys the MSRM versus Snoxtar match today. All right, let's just change that. All right, Snoxtar. All right, let's get things going. Let's show you guys the actual game. Full screen it up. Let's change our score, because now it is now 1-1. All right, spawning up here in the north. Our player showing he's got the skills. It is our blue Inferno player, MSRM. And his opponent spawning in the south, tying the series up with just kind of solid Infernal play, amassing a strong army in our last game. He is representing Aftermath Gaming, Snoxtar. All right, so we see the same deal from both players. This kind of just get the hexen across the map, get confirmation of how you're building your structures. Both players are going for the conclave opening here, followed closely by an iron vault. So conclave, of course, gives you the gaunts. Iron vault's going to get you those brutes, and their whole goal you can watch just kind of on the mini-map. Both players have the same thing in mind. Get up here and get control of this health camp. We talked about this map initially, but let's go through a little bit of it while they're going over things and starting to gather up their resources from this camp and be able to get additional troops here. One of the things that makes this map so unique is that you have that huge pocket in the center full of resources here. You can be able to get this, of course, by breaking down the trees, chopping them down with your imps, or using your little drop ship, dropping yourself in here and being able to take control of this location. Your natural expansion is pretty wide open there. Of course, you are going to be able to take that pretty easily, as we see players are gathering themselves up, and we'll be starting to do that now. Third base is either this location or this location, so you can kind of decide how you want to go about it. Whichever one you take, whether you're going to be having kind of more of that 3 base close to you, or a little bit kind of top to bottom way of setting things up. But as you notice, the other bases that are over on the corners there, very hard, very difficult to secure and protect. But that is where these important camps are for additional resources, right? The Therium, the Luminite. So we will be seeing players eventually be able to fight over those, but for the most part, it's the normal same plan that we've been going for, right? We're going to be able to sit here and gather up and start being able to take control of our watchtowers, take control of our energy towers. Energy, very important here. You can see this kind of like third resource that they have gathered up. That gives those players that option of that top bar spellcasting abilities here, being able to sit and go through and pick and choose which extra spells they want to be able to drop down. Like we see the effigy get dropped down a lot. That's one of those really powerful things that give them that extra white health. Sometimes you can drop down the shroud stones, so it's a lot of availability within that players want to go boom. There's that energy using that effigy as well. So going to be useful as we are going to start grabbing up that Luminite camp. Pretty normal, pretty straightforward. You're going to see kind of almost like a mirror between builds here as these players set themselves up and get ready for this. They're going to be eventually choosing their next tech route. We've seen this before, and it's usually the Ritual Chamber just because we need to get access to those Plague Axes. Plague Axes will be able to have that corruptibility, that poison effects there, that will be able to turn enemy units into fiends. So we do need that online soon. And look at this, great choice here. Something that we will see players often do is be able to try to find an avenue to get in and get these slight advantages. One of the ways to do that is using your imp, tear down the trees, throw a meat farm here so you can be able to absorb tank a little bit more, but also get vision and have information about this camp as well. So now we're going to be able to take over and get both Therium and Luminite camp. Fiends looking for an avenue to sneak in, though. We might see a little bit of harassment coming out here. At least some scouting information done. But again, every time that there is a camp captured on the map, both players see that on the minimap. So they can see all the red, they can see all the blue. But there we see some Fiends come in, see if they can sneak it. Oh my gosh, he gets the scout and sees the third base coming down. So that is perfect information there for MSRM to now have to make a choice. All right, what is he going to do about it? But he's busy scrambling right now because these Fiends have jumped right on top of a lot of those imps. No significant damage done other than the loss of mining there, which, you know, is impactful and a little bit annoying to have to be able to deal with. But something that you have to kind of be aware of as you're going through things is like, okay, I need to be able to go for a more economic route here. Snoxtar is deciding to go for compared to the last game where he was really focused on building up a strong army. So a lot of his resources invested right now into this third base that has not paid off. So there's a window of opportunity for MSRM to try to decide, is he just going to go for his own third base? And he does decide for that, choosing to go for this kind of upper top pocket expansion up here. But here's what we're talking about is the benefit of having this meat farm right here is because these fell hogs count as your units. So it makes sure that you're not able to just send a fiend up here or send a gaunt up there and be able to take it off. Now this shows you where the enemy army is though. Seeing this pack up here, going to clean up this meat farm, going to clean up this area and capture both these. That's the, do we respond to this and go and attack? And yes, there's the army's reaction. We're going to start moving our way on over there and as we start adding on additional productions here. So we're in that big power-up mode here, getting ourselves ready. Also on the defensive up by the third base because we know the army was up here. And it's kind of a risky thing to just, like, send our army straight up there and, you know, get thrown off. So we send, of course, additional scouts out, checking, confirming everything that's going on, and actually slipping on out of there, which is really nice there. So now we can kind of zip our way around, get back here and send him back in again in the future. We're going to try to risk moving up and seeing if we can capture and take back our towers. It looks like we can, no problem. At least no problem at the moment because the rest of the army is setting here. And look at this, even scouting with that Hexen, really important, trying to confirm, okay, where is your base? I know you've got to have another base somewhere. Where is it? Yeah, loading it up with a lot of meat farms, a lot of production is going to start getting added in here as our forward location that we're going to use as our main contention point on this map right now. As Snoxtar knows this has got to be kind of the frontal location that he's going to have to be protecting where MSRM is because it's really close relatively to where your opponent's base is. Knowing that they're going to be able to easily zip his way up there and defend this base back and forth. You know, you could be able to destroy some of these trees too, but just sending a few troops up is not that big of a deal. Health camp's going to start getting captured again, but now we start to see the additional tech has come online for MSRM. So MSRM's adding those Magmadons into his army. We saw how effective they are in straight-up combat there, especially against the Gaunts. That stampede effect that they are able to have as they run their way forward, really powerful, really strong, and really necessary when both players are kind of amassing huge amount of Gaunts. We're just going for the brute Gaunt style of play right now. We are going to be able to start getting our next stage in the tech route, and that is going to be relying more on the brutes here, something that Snoxtar is going to be relying on, just pure numbers in the actual fight here, where Snoxtar has that kind of power to just kind of bulldoze over your opponent. MSRM is trying to go for very specific units to help him when it actually comes to combat. It's really going to rely on the Magmadons that he has and whether or not they're going to be able to get those hits that he needs. So pay close attention when we actually get to the fight where the Gaunts are when the armies actually clash. Again, the Gaunts are the main DPS here. We do see both upgrades are here now. We've got the Plague Axes as well as that Reaper's Rush, so they get to move a little bit faster, easier to reposition and set yourselves up, but Magmadon's added on now for Snoxtar. MSRM still scrambling around, building up his Gaunt count. That's part of that power-up mode we talked about of adding on those additional conclaves here. We're seeing more Iron Vaults get in, but this nice little SimCity wall that's set up. But the problem is the base, the fourth base, is now being attacked. This is that dangerous spot of how well can you defend this location. It's going to be really tough to get in here and find the angle that he needs to actually be able to attack. And now we're sitting here and losing that base in the process. We are trying to stampede our way forward here. Both of those Magmadons rushing up. Again, it's all about where those Magmadons get to the Gaunts, whether or not they can actually get in and be able to hit. And we did see that show up here as Snoxtar is trying to continue to barrel his way forward here. Another Magmadon sneaking its way over and will start stampeding, getting on top of some of those Gaunts. The Brutes have done a great job absorbing a lot of this here, and because they've got that extra upgrade for their Fiends, giving them a little bit of extra armor, it allowed just kind of that additional armor and shielding that allowed the Gaunts to be able to kind of still deal most of the damage in the back. But you just see so much blood over here, and we do see additional tech we talked about. Weavers have gotten added to the mix here. They've got that powerful grab ability where they can just yank people towards them. They're really slow, but they do really well against structures. So we'll see how well he can be able to kind of maneuver with this heavier conclave build, using them to kind of absorb a lot of hits. They are pretty strong, lengthy beasts as they kind of lumber their way around the map here, but that is still so many Gaunts to have to deal with. Army-wise, or at least supply-wise, things are pretty close and pretty even. Yes, you lost your fourth base. You're trying to rebuild it here. This is something that, you know, is definitely going to be another point of contention, but right now, MSRM is up trying to get camps, which means that this base is going to be forfeit here. Immediately gets the sacrifice there, so we'll not lose those resources. Lose a little bit there, but not too bad. But can you catch this army? Can you surround it? And he says, no, I'm going to ignore that. I'm going for your base here. Can he get in there? And that's the thing. Without the Magmadon to help break these down and get in there really easily, you're just kind of left going, all right, I'm going to leave that alone for now. I'm going for the additional camps and tower myself up and get that big boost to my resources and my economy that way. The next kind of holding location here is going to be, let's take over the center then. Snoxtar are going to be able to say, well, I keep denying your right-hand base. What else can I do to be able to continue to get ahead? Oh my gosh. We've added the Flay Dragon. That is one way to do it. And now this is that hard moment of trying to sneak our way in. There's the grab we're seeing from the Weavers, starting to yank each other all over the place. The Dragon has shown up here. We even got our Shadow Flyers just in case our enemy has pulled their own units out here to try to deal with this. But this is such a tough spot to actually fight over here. You can't really get in there and fight the way that you want. Look at all these Gaunts just kind of stuck in the back, running into each other, trying to move forward here. So it's all about who's got that better concave. And now we see the scramble, the runaway. We got no more front line to kind of help us out here as those big tech units in the back here lumbering their way forward here. We see the effigy get dropped down, but the surround, look at just how much red is here for Snoxtar as he kind of runs his way forward. The small clump of MSRM's troops as he kind of stutter steps his way around, but the Plague Dragon still raining destruction from above is making this so difficult, and just the scramble back, continual stutter step. Here's a Magmadon trying to come out and try to help here, but that army is still so scary to deal with. Can we get back to a safe location here? It is looking okay right now, but that just means we can be able to reposition and shift ourselves back to another way, catch this army off guard. And there we see another Plague getting dropped down on top of this army, another effigy trying to help with that extra health, and G is called. Snoxtar able to take that match. They're going up 2-1 in this best of 5 series. Really, really awesome to be able to see those kind of later stage tech stuff. The Weavers, we got to see the Flay Dragon. So awesome, awesome, awesome stuff in that series here. I love being able to see that kind of choices that both players were making about how they were going to navigate through that map, which way that they were going to go about things. So it's looking tough right now if you're a MSRM fan. We're now sitting at a 2-1 lead, but this is our semifinals. It means whoever gets knocked down goes to the loser bracket. Whoever wins gets to move on to the next stages here. So we're going to see who actually is going to be moving on in this Infernal versus Infernal. The warm-up matches, if you will, because Theory is still in the tournament, High is still in this tournament, so there's 3 Infernal players and 1 Celestial player here. We're going to our Furious Resolve as our next map here. Will it be the final map? We shall see. Let's jump in, full screen it. All right, but thanks everybody for tuning in and watching today. We do have, of course, plenty of games to be able to bring you. Snoxtar versus MSRM here. Now we're going to be loading up, actually be able to adjust our score accordingly. There we go. All right, spawning up here in the north on this sweet 4-player Furious Resolve map, currently leading the series 2-1, representing Aftermath Gaming. He is Snoxtar. And his opponent spawning in the south. Well, just like misclick on the map, but spawning in the south, currently down 1-2, looking for a way to tie up the series here. He is MSRM. All right, so Furious Resolve. I like this map. It's relatively easy to be able to secure your natural location here. You know, we've got so much of our secondary resource right there piled up, so you can be able to kind of tech up the way that you want. But the way that it works is, you know, the map location, because it's kind of top straight down on the right-hand side, will have an impact of the way that these players are fighting and the way that these players are going to be setting up and planning their you know, next stages for actual combat of things. So we're going to be going over and having a little bit of a fight over the speed camp initially based on where we are. And look at this, the Hexen going to actually be in trouble, having to scramble back. The Gaunts are going to be coming in here. It's going to be based on how much damage, who can get hit first. And whoa, good control here, but got to be careful. That will be able to be taking a little bit of extra damage. That dot does have an impact. Brutes show up, that defender's advantage making a huge difference here as MSRM is now scrambling back. Where's the Brute? There's the Brute, but look at this. Oh my gosh, Hexen so low in health, trying his best to scramble out of there and ends up being picked off there by Snoxtar. He's able to kind of retreat back here with his couple of Fiends. Now there is the one Brute and the Fiend here, but having the Hexen still alive makes a huge difference because of that Plague ability that he has access to there. So pay close attention as they sit here and attempt. He still wants to go for this little speed camp, but needs his next wave of troops. That defender's advantage of being able to get those troops to you quickly is a big part. But this fight over the speed camp is only possible because of these spawn locations that these players are at. Knowing that this base is so close to the enemy, you can sit here and try to fight over it. You're trying to get that little bit of advantage you can kill off. Remember, last hitting does actually matter here when it comes to grabbing control of camps and everything. The Brute is trying to get up on top of it. Gaunts are scrambling. Remember, these are the high damage, but they're so weak. They're glass cannons compared to the Brutes, just kind of big, beefy units. And there, a next Gaunt does fall. Are we going to be able to actually have the damage to kill off this Hexen? We do, which is nice here. Next Brute does show up, and it's Fiend versus Fiend action as 2 more Gaunts show themselves and will be able to kind of chase this army away here. And we do see MSRM now just kind of responding, getting himself set up and ready for the next stages of things. And we see it is going to be planning for an expansion. No expansion yet right now for Snoxtar, but the Fiend will get the confirmation about what's going on. Gets in here, gets a full scout off. Seeing no expansion yet, it's kind of that like, okay, now I've got to kind of get myself ready. If I go and try to get my health camp at this moment in time, will I be okay? Well, Fiend and Brute and Gaunts have shown up. See a couple of Gaunts showing up here to help defend. This Shrine has plenty of health, so you can kind of be annoying and help defend against this. Kind of a lot more Brutes are showing up, though, so that's going to be important to note because they, of course, can split into Fiends, so pay close attention to the Gaunts in this fight. How many of them are left alive? Where are they at? How the combat is actually going between the 2 of them, and there we go. We see one's going to get picked off over here, the other 2 getting shredded as well, but, oh, there's the Fiends popping out. They actually split just to try to be able to kill them off, and, oh, my gosh, last-second effigy on the high ground made sure to save all these troops. 6 health, 1 health. That was crazy. Whoa, what a hold there. That's the kind of stress that comes with this spawn location. Knowing that your enemy is so close to you like this, that you're kind of stuck into this. And the fact that MSRM has been able to go and try to grab Oh, they're trying to fight over it. I like that little hit to try to get some extra hits off on the Gaunts here. But that little, basically you're forcing your opponents into a constant stage of, we're so close that we have to stay in each other's faces. But we're going to attempt to go for this, but this is going to allow MSRM to have that defender's advantage that we got to see from Snoxtar up at the top. And yeah, GG's called. Looking at the army supply, knowing that the additional base is there, we see that it is all tied up here in this best of 5 semifinal match between these two players. What another exciting game. That one was really cool in particular because of the spawn locations. We don't normally see that map work out that way, but because it's the vertical spawn instead of cross spawns that time, we got to see just like you have to be in your face with each other or things are not going to go well. So now we're going to be going to our final map. We're actually getting to game 5 here. Let's see. I don't remember what game 5 was going to be, but we'll find out as we load in. Lost Hope. There we go. Let's get it. Tied up 2-2. Anybody can take this series here. Send your energy out for the players you want. Snoxtar, MSRM, who do we need? Who do we want to see move on to the winner bracket final here? These players are loading in. Let's get our score up to date and get our intros going. All right, good luck. Having fun coming out from the players spawning over here on the left-hand side of the map. It is going to be our blue Infernal player tying the series up, trying to get that last little bit of wins he needs. It is MSRM. And his opponent spawning on the right-hand side, also on the bottom. It is going to be our Infernal player representing Aftermath Gaming. He is Snoxtar. And you see the scouting away. We're checking, right? Oh, are you over there? No, you're not. So that's one of those things of this is a huge map. We say it's a huge map, but again, spawn locations make things weird and different. So we're playing on Lost Hope. I like this map a lot. There's many maps that I like on here, but you know, easy to take natural expansion here. You do not get that secondary resource for it. If you want that, you're gonna have to take this. Easy to take third base. Your fourth base is tucked back over here, but because of where the bases are, you can destroy these trees and get right in here and attack this base, find another avenue of attack. Based on how things are looking with the way that this spawn location is, this is definitely a possibility later on in this game, so pay close attention to this specific location. At this moment in time, both players are going to do their normal stuff. We're going to get our health camps up. We'll be able to go and start getting our speed camps up, kind of gather up our basic next set of resources as we get ourselves ready for the next stage of the game. Both players are going to have to make that choice, though. Do they go for the economic play? Do they go more for the camp focus? Where do they go from here? And we're seeing Snoxtar going for that camp focus as he's setting himself up, fighting the speed camp here, getting that focused on initially to get that boost to his economy. On the other side, MSRM is going for his expansion again before he focuses and finishes up that speed camp. Boom, big speed boost. Now we can kind of go right over here and get control of the center of the map. Fiend's going to start moving their way around. Again, you kind of know exactly where the enemy is, all right? You check the location. They weren't there. There's the speed boost. He's coming in. Lots of Gaunts. We got to be careful. The Gaunts and the Hexen on the wrong side of this fight here. And oh my gosh. Oh, Snoxtar ends up losing his Hexen in the fight. Does get control of that watchtower, which does help out. He's got a lot of Fiends to chase down. Still has quite a lot of Gaunts. Can he get any surrounds and trap any of these troops here? We are trying our best to get in here. The Hexen will help out with that extra little bit of plague damage. More and more Gaunts. Don't want to get too close then. We talked about Defender's Advantage last game and how much of an impact it had. So that is one thing that we have to be very careful for going into this next stage here. But now we can kind of move out, take our expansion, and start going. The thing is, expansion is now up for MSRN, so we can kind of sit here and be able to decide, all right, what can I do to kind of get my next advantage? And we're going to actually go and fight over this energy camp. Oh, going to be scouting and confirming too, just like check the base. Do you have your natural up? What are you doing? Yep, and he sees. Okay, that's that sigh of relief moment of, sweet, mine is already done and yours is not done yet. So now I can kind of get myself ready and be able to take that. In the meantime, health camp grabbed at the top, and this is that kind of moment of maybe almost panic for Snoxtar. Go, whoa, you grab that energy camp right by my base. Now I kind of got to be ready for that. So power-up stage for players are going to be coming out here. We're going to be getting our ritual chambers online, going to get those plague axes online. Kind of normal transition for the next stage when we have infernal players here. How well will this work out as we go forward? We will see where the next big fight's going to take. It's going to be this kind of constant push and pull over the towers for the time being, because both players really need to start building up and taking advantage of their natural expansions. Of course, MSRM was able to gather his up earlier, so we're going to be seeing just kind of that start to get that payoff hit now. This is right around that time where those resources are actually starting to compile up and start being able to be utilized and turned into active units on the map here, like these gaunts that we're starting to see, which he can then use to be able to move out and start grabbing more and more of these camps. Other side, we do see the same kind of deal here. Decent number of troops that are starting to gather up here. That's that kind of difference of, okay, both players are starting to get their expansions online, and it looks like we're going to be seeing both players just kind of make that mental note. All right, we've had some aggro games. Let's just kind of play and utilize such a big map like this to the way it's supposed to be made, and that's the kind of gather up, take over all of our bases, and get ourselves ready for the kind of longer, more large army battles that can be expected here on this map. Next fight looks like it's going to be over the center in the watchtower again. There's, of course, Fiends jumping in, getting the little pop shots off each other first. Decent amount of gaunts. That's the main thing that we need to worry about. Oh, a plague gets hit down on both teams utilizing that top bar ability there. Effigy is now going to get dropped down, but the army size is definitely in favor of MSRM here. Brutes have shown up here. It's going to be Fiends on Fiends battling it out, though gaunts are going to have to run back here. That army is not going to win this battle. That extra little bit of energy and power from the Hexen does make a difference here, but now that the Brutes are gone, there's no more front line. Here's another wave of Brutes. 3 coming down from the south here. Has got to be very careful as they kind of scramble and try to set themselves up in a better position. Effigy gets dropped down, and now the Gaunts are going to be microing and getting themselves into a better position here. Next wave comes in. That's this downside of being so close to each other's base. How well can you defend against this as both armies are kind of running into each other? But nope, we realize, okay, great little engagement. Neither player really able to get too much ahead. One thing I will note, MSRM does still have his Hexen, but you know, Snoxtar did well utilizing the troops that he had. It was really coming down to who was able to get those Brutes out there and be that kind of frontline tankiness to this army. There we see Hexens doing what they can, cleaning things up. We'll gather up another tower. Health camp's going to be grabbed over here. What are we at here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 camps controlled by MSRM and 5 camps right now controlled by Snoxtar. This is going to be a really tough spot to be able to hold, though. And yeah, look at this. Skull comes over and does some scouting. Also, as you know, that Skull will allow you to capture camps. So that is nice little added bonus to it. Health camp's going to be grabbed. Additional power-up of Conclaves, as well as Iron Vault's going to come down from both players here. Double Conclave added on for MSRM. That's one of those things of saying, hey, I need to prioritize additional Gaunts in this, and he already has the Magmadons. And what did we talk about early on in this game? Pay close attention to this second avenue of attack. This might actually just end the game here as the Weavers are coming out, but if they get caught off guard here, as this whole army is now running into his main base, and he is not ready for that. We see that initial Shroudstone gets pulled in here. We do see that Weaver is going to grab onto the Magmadon. Big, oh my gosh, there's the Stampede. There's the Plague going down here, and Magmadon running to the back here will start to get focus fired down, but there's no more front line. That Weaver has been killed off. The Magmadon's going to get killed off. Magmadon's popping popping out here. This defender advantage making a difference, but the economy has got to be very careful. We're going to be seeing some attacks over here at the Imps. We're going to be seeing the Magmadon trying to gather up and try to body block and stop all of these Gaunts. The Gaunts are the main damage dealer in this army. Whether or not they stay alive is the most important thing, and it looks like Snoxtar is holding. He's defending off and will push back MSRM. Great timing here for having those Magmadons pop out and utilizing that defender's advantage to be able to kind of save himself from destruction here. And now, with that superior army, that superior tech route that he's gone, he's able to kind of push his way all the way back on over to the next side of the map here. Will this be enough for MSRM to hold? He's got all these Fell Hogs to help him out with these meat farm wall that he's constructed. Weavers are going to start popping out, and so now this is that dangerous moment of going, I don't want to overcommit here. If I overcommit, I could lose this advantage that I was able to gain. A nice little grab here, going to pull that back, and yeah, we're not going to let you keep that. No way. No way. So good hold there for Snoxtar. Good kind of wall constructed for MSRM to kind of put a stop to it. So neither player is able to win right now. But when we were looking at that advantage meter, right now it's going for Snoxtar. Supply lead. He was able to defend very well, was taking minimal amount of damage. Both of his additional mining bases are up and protected. We see Twilight Spires getting added in. Of course, that Hellforge just kicked in with that additional upgrade for all these Fiends, giving them additional armor. Going to make things a little bit easier. Still have our effigies over there to help us out. And now MSRM is kind of like had to kind of play more defensively. He had to play a little bit scared, right? We're still going to be able to sneak our way in, get some Fiends. This avenue of attack is still available for the future, so we could still be able to try to sneak in some troops that way. Problem is, we have to keep all of our troops together. We've got to stay grouped up. If we do not stay grouped up and do like a split attack, we're going to be left in shambles. And oh, nice dodge there coming out, but the Fiend's job is to try to surround and trap and stop these units from running away while the Gaunts are dealing all that damage. Can they get close enough to do this? Very powerful attack getting built up here for Snoxtar. MSRM trying to utilize his defender's advantage. We see the Hellborn dropping those shotgun blasts from the high ground, trying to help out. That does help, especially against a lot of these low health Gaunts. So that's why we do see Snoxtar repositioning, getting himself set back up, and says, okay, I can't push in and kill you yet, but I can be able to do the same thing that you did to me. I'm going to clear up the path. I'll take this tower here and have an avenue into your main base here. Ooh. But MSRM going to grab that speed boost and really going to try to fight over this. Oh, he sees it. He knows that this is happening. Are we fighting over this base? And this base is going to be forfeit here. Be careful, though. The Gaunts are on the wrong side of this fight here. We need the Brutes. We need the Magmadons up at the front. We see the Magmadon trying to get close, but that speed boost making a huge difference in this. Base does get sniped, so that is a nice little pickup there for Snoxtar. Does he have what it takes to be able to push through and finish off the remaining troops from MSRM? Oh, my gosh, just the Hellborn. There's no more front line here, and now it's the scramble, trying to get back, trying to get that speed boost to get him out of here and get him back to his safety of his natural. As he scrambles, he's going to be trying to stutter step with the Gaunts the best he can. You see the Brutes leading the charge with the Fiends, but that's the kind of hits that we needed to see, because this means, hey, I am getting further and further ahead now. I've taken an extra base. I've sniped your base. I can be able to keep you from getting out onto the map and doing the things that you want to do. Now we're going to be seeing, though, the big shield breaker here. The flayed dragon himself has joined the fight. Is there enough Gaunts to help out? Do we have any way to take this out? We will see. Camp's going to be taken over here. Lots of Brutes in this army, so adding in the Flayed Dragon is going to be so nice. There, oh, this is what we need. The Shadow Flyers, think of these like Scourge, and they can't even get close. Oh my gosh, they all get shredded by all of the Gaunts underneath there, so great job controlling all of those units, make sure to snipe the things that we need to snipe. Snoxtar scrambling to get into his main base to kind of defend this. We see camping over top the production, taking out Conclaves, taking out Iron Vaults, taking out all of the Fiends that are there, and now we see the scramble surrounding all of this army. The Flay Dragon really making a huge difference, because Brutes are great for dealing with this front line, but not actually useful for hitting this dragon up above. And that one Hellborn still splashing down. We can watch a lot of these Gaunts' health start to plummet and start to fall. So many Gaunts in the back for MSRM, dealing all the damage that he needs to do. And there's the Flay Dragon out as well for Snoxtar. Both players now in dragon mode, fighting over here. Who will actually be able to take it? Dragon Bug. Oh no, it's stuck in his base. Oh, No damage. Oh my gosh. No. GG's called. No. Oh. That hurts. I don't know if the dragon would have made a difference looking at the army supplies and looking at what we have in the base. I mean, the dragon would have helped a lot for sure, but MSRM did phenomenal in that match. I mean, both players did. That was a great game between them, both sitting here and really putting on a clinic of what to do in that series and how to fight Infernal versus Infernal. But having that bug where it just, I guess they said no damage for it. It stood still. I had that bug. Yeah. Oh, Snoxtar said, I literally ate my money and energy and Dragon didn't pop up. Yeah, so, and then MSRM said, yeah, it stood still. I had that bug. You can't select it and control it. Yeah, so we saw it just kind of, it almost was like it was stuck in the main base. Like it couldn't actually fly and do anything. Oh.